JDF, the Green Ranger. So this is our third time covering this. The last time we talked about JDF, we went over Sky, his daughter, his firstborn daughter. How she went off on Tammy, which is JDF's widow. Had to be corrected in the comments on YouTube there because they didn't officially divorce before he passed. So she's technically the widow. Gotta get it right. So Tammy, the widow, she has now given her interview on YouTube. It was on Henry Resilient. That's the YouTube channel. Feel free to go check that out. Watch the whole interview for yourself. Did you get a chance to see it, good sir?
Yes, I did. I'm going to start by saying that I think he had a lot more going on in his life that we didn't know about.
Mm-hmm.
Probably stuff we still don't know about.
Yeah.
I just can't see how just her being the way she is caused that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot more going on. And I'm the kind of guy, I like to, maybe I'm watching too many cop shows, I like to read people's body language. I like to, when they're telling a story or, interrogation, stuff like that, yeah. I like to read people's body language.
Mm-hmm.
Hers was a little difficult because it was up and down a lot.
Right.
Especially the very beginning, before they even started recording or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that? No, she was laughing, she was making jokes a little bit. Then all of a sudden, he said they're going, and her whole mood just changed, just quick, quick, like a freaking light switch.
Well,
so that's kind of weird, but okay, yeah. Well, whatever, yeah. Let that go. But it's just, and again, me watching her, when I first started, I was like, no, it's her fault, whatever. The more I listened to it, the more she explained things, I started teeter-tottering a little bit, okay, well, maybe I'm wrong, maybe, because some of the stuff she was saying made sense.
Right.
I kind of felt a little bit of emotion for certain things she talked about.
Yeah, same here.
But at the same time, the whole body language thing kind of was bugging me a little bit too. Mm-hmm. She was very nervous, which, of course, you should be.
Right.
Because what kind of interview she's doing. She was doing a lot of moving around, stuff like that. The eyes kind of threw me off a little bit because I thought I had the eyes down, but no. She threw me off a little bit on that too. Mm-hmm. So it's hard for me to pinpoint exactly. But I want to say she's not at fault for it.
Okay.
Completely, but I think she played a part in it. Mm-hmm. And she had a lot of information about his life and her life. And what I thought was pretty funny was when she talked about how he asked her to marry her. Yeah. He had nothing.
Just randomly at a bar. Just, hey, you want to get married?
Exactly. That was pretty cool. But yeah, like I said, I don't think she was completely 100% at fault with it, but I believe she unfortunately had some part in it. Maybe not intentionally, but there was some part in it. The way she acts about certain things makes me question also. She's something she's way too happy about, or she's way too comfortable talking about, almost scripted at one point.
Interesting. Okay. I kind of did something similar where I was watching her body language as well. I was seeing her hands. I was seeing what she was doing. I was seeing the expressions on her face. And you're right. It did kind of go back and forth, but I think it was natural. To me, it looked natural because they were talking about something serious, and she had her serious face on, and then he would bring something up like like you said, how did he propose? And then her face kind of lit up, and like she was thinking back on the memory, and like it made her smile. She was happy, and then of course when the heavy stuff came in, she had her game face on, and it was down. It was complete opposite,
But then when that would happen, it would remind me of the beginning of it, the beginning of the interview, when she was, happy, lucky, making jokes and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And then when they went on the air, all of a sudden, boom, real quickly, a switch like that. Yeah. And that seemed to happen a lot throughout the interview. Yeah. Like a switch. Yeah. And I don't know, can you do that? Can someone do that, being serious about it, like switch that quickly?
I don't think that a guy can. I don't think a guy can, just because we don't drive on emotions like women do. So I mean, I kind of believe it, on her end, you know. She convinced me, anyways, on that sense. Like, she convinced me that she really did love the man. That's what I got out of it. I also think that they kind of brushed over Sky's accusation. Like, what she was saying, like, oh, they didn't let her do this, they didn't let her do that, that Tammy was being super controlling. Like, they kind of just glossed over it and didn't really touch on it. It was more like, oh, yeah, Sky, she was a little girl, we raised her, she was like family, I love Sky. Like, it was like, whoa, that's not what she's saying over here. You know, like, it was just complete opposites of what Sky is saying and what Tammy's saying. It didn't align. Like, everything aligned, but it didn't, like, fit, if that makes sense.
Okay. I see where you're going with it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Tammy told her story, and that's her truth. And then Sky told her story first, though. Sky told her story, and that's her truth. Somewhere in the middle, that's where the real truth lies. I think they're both telling the truth, their version of the truth, you know?
Yeah, I was going to say that, yeah.
But somewhere in the middle, that's where it really lands. They just don't see eye to eye, Sky and Tammy. And, I mean, you know, she sees it one way, she sees it the other. And I think you're right, like, Tammy was, how you said that she's maybe not intentionally at fault, but, like, I think it's just her personality, her way of being, you know, she seems like, just based on what other people say, she does seem like that controlling, that person, you know, a person like that who likes to be in control and likes to not be told no, and just, you know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of person that she kind of seemed to me, and she doesn't think she's doing anything wrong, which I've met people like that before, so I kind of do think she just doesn't think she's doing anything wrong. You know what I mean? Like, but
No.
Yeah.
I'm the same boy. I met people the same way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they also I feel like they glossed over the last night of JDF in that hotel room.
Yeah, I mean, but that's I don't know. Maybe because it's been talked about so much already. Because that's been talked about a lot in the last hours that he was alive, or the last night he was alive. That's been talked about a lot, and a lot of it's just to match up with what everybody's saying.
Yeah.
So maybe they're like, what's the point of going over this again? I would repeat it again.
Yeah. But I was looking for holes in the story. I was waiting for holes to be filled. Parts of the story that didn't, that didn't sound completed. I was waiting for them to be filled in, but they weren't. It was more of the same. Like, I mean, the story she told in the past was the same story she told this time, except for, I'm like 90% sure the first article that came out with gUNzz, she had stated they got into an argument. But in that interview, I don't think they mentioned an argument at all. All she said was they had a deep conversation, and, you know, they were drinking, and then they were taking some pills that helped them, some like sleeping pills, and then that was the end of it. That was all she really said. You know, like, she didn't really fill the gaps. She didn't mention anything about an argument, and, you know, it's like she, you know, doesn't want to go into full detail, which is what his fan base wants to know, what everyone wants to know.
I can kind of understand it, because I'm a more of a private person. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna tell you what's going on in my life unless you ask or whatever, and I feel like I can tell you. Mm-hmm. So I back her up on that, especially for something that's as big as someone's death, and pretty much celebrity death.
Right.
That's something that means a lot to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
If I die tomorrow, there's going to be nothing on the news about me. no one's going to be interviewing about me. You know, I see on TMZ.
But local ice cream hero gone.
We had CrazyKat lost all 9 lives today.
But yeah, dude, it's I think that's where I stand on it. It's unresolved. I agree with you, actually. She wasn't at fault, at least not 100% at fault. The same YouTube channel did release a toxicology report. They went over the autopsy. He went over quite a few things. He got a hold of all that after the interview with Tammy, and then like every question that he asked in the timeline, like it fits, right? Like she was answering, and everything lined up with what the toxicology report was saying, with what the autopsy was. Everything was lining up, so and that leads me to believe like she was telling the truth, and she didn't like sit there and think. Like she would get a question and she would answer, on the spot.
I did notice that. I did notice that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't really think much. I noticed a lot of people when they're lying also they put their head down quite a bit. She didn't do that.
No, she stared straight at the camera.
Yeah.
I mean, she smoked the hell of a lot of cigarettes.
Oh, good lord, yes.
Yeah, but yeah, I didn't really see.
That was just her help her calm her nerves, probably.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I didn't see any signs of her like lying or trying to be deceitful. I think she did, the stories that she did tell. I think she was being truthful and honest and whatnot. But because she didn't touch on certain things, and still just hearing like what her personality really is like, I still kind of believe it was about the money. After JDF passed, she did everything she could to secure that she and her daughter would get everything. That's what it seems like to me. It's a little sad, but that's just what it looks like to me.
Yep. I'm gonna stick with what I said earlier. Not a complete fault. Yeah, it had a little something in there.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I would say 97% of it was true.
Okay.
Which is a big jump, because when I first started, I was automatically like, no, she's guilty. She's guilty right away.
Yeah. Even I was in the same boat with you. I was like, oh man, this guy's really tearing into her. She sounds like a horrible person. Yeah, she kind of, she kind of won me over a little bit. Yeah. Not in every aspect, but,
As I say, there's two sides to every story.
100%. It sucks, but it's, that's just the way it ended, and just hope that JDF can finally rest in peace.
Yep.